folks, it's me, FTW superstar Trent, and tonight I'm very honored to be hosting the FTW Legacy Wing class of 2022. Our first annual ceremony, what hopefully shall become a yearly institution. A lot of you have been asking what the FTW Legacy Wing is. Essentially, it's our answer to the WWE Hall of Fame. Tonight we have three individuals who we want to recognize and forever immortalize their careers for their accomplishments, their dedications, and their contributions. We're going to kick things off with the big man of the Elite Alliance, the most unpredictable member of that group, who unfortunately had to bow out after FTW Winter Warning, despite his short stay in FTW and his short career in the FTW promo multiverse. We are very proud to announce Flash as the first man to be inducted into the FTW Hall of Fame, the Legacy Wing. Without further ado, allow me to present to you the man who will be inducting Flash into the FTW Legacy Wing here tonight. He is the current FTW World Heavyweight Champion. Please welcome Hollywood Haywood.
Ladies and gentlemen of the FTW Premier Promo League, welcome to the first ever induction of the Legacy Wing of the FTW Premier Promo League. When I was asked to induct this person into our Legacy Wing, the only thing that I could think of was how much of a great privilege and an honor it was to induct someone who I had known for so long. I want to take you on a little journey, if I can, for a little while. I want to take you to a time when Hollywood was in 6th grade. Little Hollywood Haywood got on the bus that first day of school in 6th grade, and he met little Flash, who was in 7th grade. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen A Christmas Story, but you know how Ralphie had the redheaded guy that he was afraid to go to school of? Flash was that redheaded guy, and I was Ralphie. And if you'd have told me that 30 plus years later, I would be sitting here inducting my little redheaded menace that made me not want to go to school some days into a promo Legacy Wing, I would have told you, you are crazy. If you would have told me 30 some years ago that I not only would be inducting that person into the first ever FTW Premier Promo League Legacy Wing, but I would have also ran the longest running, most talked about talk show in all of prediction sports, A Flash of Hollywood, with that person, I would have told you were crazy. And if 33 and some plus years ago, you would have told me that I would be playing board games one night on a lonely night in Virginia with that redheaded guy from 7th and 6th grade, I would have told you were crazy. But here we are. And over the years, you know, you have people that come and go throughout your life. And there's been times I've lost track of this individual, but he always seems to find his way back to me. And I call that fate. So it is a great privilege. It is a great honor to introduce to you a man who as a child scared the living hell out of me, but is one of my best friends and one of the best promo artists in the business. Ladies and gentlemen of the FTW Premier Promo League, I give you Flash of High Voltage, MDK all day.
Your hand lettering is terrible, by the way.
I'm sorry. I thought I was supposed to step off stage. I'm sorry.
Oh, you did. It's all good. Yeah. So hello, FTW, the Premier Promo League. To be honest with you, I don't even know what I did to deserve this. And when
went undefeated.
Well, oh no, I lost. No, I was 1-2, buddy.
Oh, that shows you how much I know. I'm trying to hype you up here, Flash.
I don't know. It was kind of weird, man. Like, I didn't really feel like I deserved it or that I had done anything special. But at the same time, I'm truly fucking honored. Like really honored. I don't, it's cool to see people from all over the country that you don't even really know, like personally in real life, and for them to appreciate your effort, even when it's, taking a video of yourself taking a dump on a toilet just for laughs. Like, yeah, that wasn't a sound effect, that was real. But it's cool, man, because I feel like the community, I feel the same way in Prediction League too, the community is what makes this really special. And when I first jumped on to the TPL, it was me and Haywood had been talking about it for a couple of days. And as soon as that I announced I was there, I mean, within minutes, I was getting a message from Connell, who, is an amazing promo guy. And, we were on his podcast. He was on Flash of Hollywood a bunch. So we've done a bunch of stuff with him. And anytime we ever did anything together, whether it was me and him or on the show, it was always really good. And I remember one of the episode of the show where I was begging you, like in a chat, to let him close the show. And he's the only person that's ever closed that show that wasn't Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And within, like, I'm like 5 minutes, I'm like, I'm going to do the TPL. And he's like, oh, let me do your first match. Let's do this, and that's what makes this cool, man. And I don't really have the time to commit myself to the TPL. Like the really,
PPL.
Sorry,
PPL.
the PPL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even remember what it's fucking called.
I know, but you're getting inducted into, dude. Well, we all know what Flash does.
Oh, I've done a lot of that. It's Friday. But,
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. And it's I lost my train of thought, but
I'm sorry, man. I couldn't keep letting you call it TPL, bro.
I don't know. I'm thinking of like golf or something. I don't know.
It's all good, man. Look. There's no one. Dude. You might have only been here for a short time, but you had a huge impact on a lot of people's hearts and a lot of people's minds. And
if anything, man, I hope I made you guys laugh. Because I'm not
absolutely.
I'm not really a competitive guy. Like I don't do this to compete. I don't do this for championships or wins and losses, man. Like the whole thing that got me into this is, storytelling and making videos, and, the other guys in High Voltage, Arc and the Resistance, I work with those guys every day. Like they're two of my best friends in the world. And it's something that we all enjoy. And Haywood, like he said, man, we've known each other since we were little kids, man. And when he first approached me to even start doing predictions, like it was like a no-brainer for me, Like you were like, hey, you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I want to do this. Plus, I want to bring some other guys with me that are gonna love it.
Right.
And that's what it's about, man. It's people, like we all take the time to exist within this like fantasy environment, and some people do it for the wins, and some people do it for the losses, and some people do it for the titles, and some people do it just to cut up and be goofy. And that's what it's about for me, man. And I couldn't, like, I lost 2 out of my 3 matches in the promo league, and I was a little aggravated at that, because it wasn't that I didn't care, I wasn't trying, it was just that I didn't have the time to pay attention. And what you guys do here is amazing. And the fact that, you guys are so dedicated to it, like everybody knows what's going on with everybody else. I couldn't even tell you. My last promo I did, I kept trying to say what Tyler's record was, and it was wrong. Like it wasn't even, and that's what made me realize that, it's not that I don't want to do it. I just don't have the time to do it as well as I would like to.
Well, for the short time that you were here, you left a lasting impression. And I do have to say, there have been questions. Will Flash ever do a one-off appearance again? And I just always divert the questions, because I know that you have something big you're working on, and we're not going to talk about it here. I know you have something huge. And so
Yeah.
I think that if you finish that, I think that maybe we'll see you again.
And I'm not ever ruling that out. Like, I don't get it messed up. That's definitely a possibility. It's just not something that I can do all the time.
Right.
And when I left because I took on a project that we're not going to discuss here, but it's really awesome. But it is extremely time consuming. And I just did my first video and predictions yesterday. Was the first video that I've done.
And it was amazing.
In months,
It was amazing.
Yeah,
it always is. But
there's people, Tyler really reached out to me and we talked a lot. And Hodgson, fucking stand-up dude, man. I can't even express how much I like Hodgson, and he asked me to do
hey, he's pretty awesome.
He is, man. He's awesome. He asked me to do the Elite Alliance, and I wanted to do it, and they're trying to plan stuff, and I'm at work or I'm busy with the kids, and just like I couldn't commit myself to that either, and I felt bad about it, but they were cool. You know what I'm saying? And then CPG, like I said, I want to thank him because he really made me feel welcome when I said I was going to do this.
Right.
And then Tyler, I talked a lot of shit to Tyler. And Tyler talked a lot of shit to me. And
you're talking about Tyler Woodward. We have three.
Tyler Woodward.
Yes. You're talking about Young Buck.
Yes,
you're talking about the Young Buck. Yeah. The Young Buck.
And we never really talked like outside of that. You know what I'm saying? So,
but it was good shit talking, wasn't it? It was good.
It was
shit.
a blast, dude. It was a blast. And he had me cracking up so many times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I would just laugh and like I don't know if he knew that, but ain't no beef there. Like I fucking thoroughly enjoyed doing those two matches with you. The big match and our singles match.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Man, I just like I'm kind of at a loss because like I really don't know what it is that I did to deserve this, but I think it's amazing and I really appreciate the acknowledgement and yeah, man, I fucking love you guys.
I get the tissues. Get the tissues.
Come on, soft ass.
But thank you so much, Flav, Ira. I'm gonna call you by your real name.
That is my real name.
We appreciate you, and for the short time you were here, like I said, you left a big impression.
Well,
and so just imagine all the impressions you left on me ever since I was in 6th grade.
I know you're traumatized. You tell that story every time we're around each other.
I love telling that story because we ended up becoming such good friends. And that's something that I think if the world had more of, it'd be a lot better place.
Absolutely.
That people can get past their differences from long ago and become.
I grew up, man.
I mean, because I was terrified of you. No, I'm joking. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen of FTW, give it up for Flash, one of our first Legacy Wing.
And look, I'm not saying that you may have seen the last of Flash, but there's a lot more people inside of that noggin. So don't just make assumptions. Like you might see me in a different form every now and again just to pop up.
He hasn't even reached final form yet. No.
Oh no, there are so many, man. Big Driss.
If Brig Drisk ever appears on the FTW screens, hide your kids, hide your wife. They would never back out there.
So thank you, everybody, man. It's awesome. I appreciate it.
All right.
Coming up next is a man who is the father of hardcore. He has accrued many world championships all across the promo multiverse, and tonight he takes his rightful spot in the FTW Legacy Wing. Like Flash, his career may have been short. However, we wanted to acknowledge him for everything he did all across the promo multiverse, whether it be in his home federation of RWPWF or across anywhere else in other Facebook e-feds all across the internet. Tonight, we want to bring to you Chino Jamez as yet another inductee into the FTW Legacy Wing. Inducting Chino Jamez here tonight is one of his last opponents that he faced in FTW. one of the most improved superstars in FTW history, to be precise. That man is the Scottish psychopath, the red-headed renegade, Kaza B. I'm going to be turning it over to Kaza for his induction ceremony. Kaza?
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we celebrate the career of a man who gave me my start in E-Fed promo wrestling. We celebrate the career of a man who, in FTW, had a 60% win ratio, making him within some of the top 10 here in FTW. Tonight, we celebrate a champion. We celebrate the one and only Chino Jamez. Chino came into this industry and became a pioneer. Chino became a champion in any promotion that he could. Chino in FTW, as I said, gave me my start and was one of the many faces of FTW in its inception. He battled for he battled in the Tournament of Power, he battled in tag matches, he even had an opportunity at our FTW Tournament Champion. But tonight, we truly honour the man known as Chino Jamez.
FTW. My name is Chino Jamez, and I am here to accept the Legacy Award that is being bestowed upon me by this great organization. I would just like to say that I am truly honored and blessed to have been chosen for this award. You see, a while back I joined a prediction league called FTW, and while I was there doing the predictions, I came across a man named the Army of One, Tyler Drummond. Me and him engaged in a promo battle through Hypes, which sparked the FTW Premier Promo League that you see before you. And I can honestly say, by sitting back and watching, that I am very proud of the progress that this organization has made. The stars that this organization has produced. Stars such as Hollywood Haywood, Hodgson, Mr. Wallace, The Chosen One. The list goes on and on and on. So it is with great honor that I accept this award, and I am humbled and truly grateful to have been in your organization for the short time that I was there, and I will continue to watch on to see the progression that this company makes. Once again, I am truly honored and grateful. Thank you for acknowledging me into your legacy.
And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be concluding things here with a bit of a different induction. One that's a little more heartfelt, emotional, and genuine. In December of 2021, the father of FTW admin Tyler Drummond, better known by the ring names of Army of One and the High Priest, unfortunately passed away. We here at FTW wanted to extend our condolences to the Drummond family during this time. Papa Drummond, or James Drummond if you will, was a great father and a great man, who unfortunately a lot of us didn't get to meet. However, he means a lot to the family here in FTW, and tonight we wanted to rightfully have him be our headlining inductee for the first annual FTW Legacy Wing ceremony. And before I go on any longer, I would like to turn things over to what should be one of the most emotional moments in anyone's career, as the son of James Drummond, aka Papa Drummond, the Army of One, High Priest Tyler Drummond, the FTW admin, will be now taking the stage for the induction ceremony. Tyler, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Trent. Thank you, Callum. It is an absolute honor to be here this evening to induct my father, James Drummond, into the legacy wing of the FTW Premier Promo League Hall of Fame. Now, I'm going to try to keep it together as best as I can this evening, and I want to take the time to paint the picture of who my father really was, because my father was an incredible human being. I found my love of wrestling through my father, mainly because he didn't care much for kids' cartoons. So on Saturday mornings, instead of having, Rugrats or Saturday morning ABC cartoons on, we would watch Saturday Morning Superstars. And it was from there that we really found our love of wrestling. I remember back in the early 90s, you know, the WWF at the time would do these house shows. You know, they do house shows now, but they did a lot more extensive touring. And they used to come to the local university. We grew up in Stevens Point. They'd visit Quant Fieldhouse, and they'd put on one show a year. And I remember every year how important it was that my dad took us to that, because he didn't have a lot of free time. The guy worked 3 jobs for most of his life just to make sure we had food on the table, new clothes, and amazing Christmas and birthdays. I can't think of a man that I've ever met in my life that actually works harder than my father, or worked harder than my father. I think the reason I work as hard as I do, not only for this group, but for my family, for my wife, for my kids, for my job, is because I got to see that work ethic firsthand. You know, we talk about my father, we talk about the complex person he was. See, he was born in the 1950s. He came from a household in which his father was very, very abusive. So my dad, at a very early age, developed a very hard shell. He developed that edge. He was not the nicest guy in the world, but deep down, he had a heart. And when he found my mom, that's what really unlocked that and turned him into the guy that he was. I mean, I could sit here all night and I could tell stories about my father. You know, a couple of the ones that I really, really like to tell, I like to talk about 2 stories specifically that really encapsulate who my father was. The first story, and if there's kids watching, please maybe turn the sound off at this point, but it was before he had, you know, children, and this was 1979, 1980. The local bar that they used to hang out at, the biker bar, had a big dick contest and had a bunch of participants, and the winner won some money and a free tab. And my father won, not because he had the biggest dick, but because the guy was the only man that didn't urinate on the stage, and so he won by default. When he was younger, he lived out in California, out in San Bernardino area. And actually, it's funny because when he passed away, I had a chance to go through his wallet and take a look at all these memories that I didn't realize he kept. You know, I go through his wallet and I find this concert stub for a Frank Zappa concert he went to in 1980. It was in pristine condition, and Zappa was his favorite musician. That's why I've got the music behind me that I do. It's called Watermelon and Easter Hay by Frank Zappa, and it's not only is it his favorite musician, but it's his favorite guitar solo from one of the greatest guitarists of all time. But it wasn't just a concert stub. He had, you know, a clipping from the newspaper for when my brother won an award when he was in the 6th grade. He had a clipping from when I caught this fish when I was 6 years old. He was so proud of his kids and of his family. I didn't realize until after he had passed how important we were to him and how he kept those memories. You know, the other story I wanted to share this evening was I was talking about when he lived out in California. He actually worked for the circus for a very long time. Actually worked with the elephants, worked with the monkeys. And he would tell me these stories about how every day he would go to the chimpanzee enclosure and he would give the chimps 3 Musketeers bars because they loved him. And that's how he bonded with these monkeys. He had a coworker who was very verbally abusive and would like slam on the monkeys' cages and scream at the monkeys and wasn't a very good human being. Well, one day the monkeys got out. My dad comes around the corner and there's this pack of chimpanzees, and I don't know if you know anything about chimpanzees, but they could pretty much fuck you up if they wanted to. And they walked right past him and they went to his coworker and they nearly killed the guy. But that's the kind of guy my dad was. He was the kind of guy to make friends with monkeys when nobody else would. He lived that type of life. He would tell me about how he was able to what's the word I'm looking for here? He was able to travel the country, hitchhike. There we go. He was able to hitchhike the country with a gun for his protection and a bag of cocaine. And he would give bumps of coke to people that would drive him further. And that is how he got across the country. What a weird time the 70s were. I didn't want to script this tonight, so when you see me kind of looking off to the side here, it's not because I have a script written, it's really because I have my notes written out here, and I want to make sure that I really honor him. I honor him the way that he deserves, because he had a rough upbringing. He had, like I said, a horrible, horrible family life with his dad that would beat the shit out of him. And he spent some time in juvenile detention facilities, and it wasn't a very enriched life. And his last 15 years after mom died were a real struggle for him. So while I'm sad that I lost him, I take solace in the fact that he's reunited with my mother because of how important she was to him. She was his right hand, and man, you know, he died the day she did. He never was quite the same guy he was prior to her passing, and I'm just glad he's not in any pain anymore. A couple of other things I really want to say about my dad tonight before I head out. He was a huge connoisseur of Wisconsin sports and absolute shit dog beer. The guy drank Milwaukee Beast like no other. That was his beer, and I cannot understand it. He also, like I said, loved Wisconsin sports. My dad was the kind of guy who never missed a Packer game, ever. If we were doing a family thing during a Packer game, he had a little handheld radio. He was listening to the game. I got the chance to send him to Lambeau Field. As you can expect, my dad, after my mom passed, he struggled, didn't have a whole lot of money. We all lived together just because he couldn't live on his own. And his dream was to always go to Lambeau Field. So I was able to make that happen a few winters ago. I sent him and my brother to a Packers game. And that's one of my favorite memories because my dad didn't smile a whole lot. But that time where he was at Lambeau Field cheering on the team that he loved more than any, that was a moment that made him smile more than I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that I could give that to my father was really important to me. I won't go much longer here. I know I've probably talked longer than anybody, so I apologize. But I really want to end it with this. My dad wasn't perfect. He was in no way, shape, or form perfect. He was simply the most imperfect man that was perfect for our family. You know, I think if my dad could be here today and he could tell you his thoughts on not being able to be here to accept this legacy award, I think he might sum it up a little like this.
This is bullshit.
Well put, Dad. Well put. Rest in peace. I miss you more than you realize. Say hi to Mom. We will see each other again someday. And Dad, I absolutely love you more than you ever realized. Thank you guys again for this award. It will sit proudly in my home.
Well said. Well said, Tyler. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of tonight's ceremony. We want to thank you for joining us on the road to FTW Mania. It's been quite a bumpy one, but tonight we wanted it to be one full of recognition and good spirits before we delve into the biggest two-night event in the promo multiverse. We might end things tonight on a bittersweet sort of ending, as unfortunately, Papa Drummond is no longer here with us. However, nonetheless, we thought it would be fitting to end tonight with his induction. Though he may be James Drummond to many, he will always be Papa Drummond to the FTW locker room. We want to thank you for joining us, and hopefully next year you'll be here with us as yet another batch of members will hopefully take their place in the Legacy Wing. But until then, I've been the White Raven Trent, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow night for the first night of FTW Mania. Thanks for joining us.